Welcome back, everybody. We are in 2nd Chronicles chapter 13 today. This is a heart-pumping, adrenaline-boosting story that I bring to you today. We're in 2nd Chronicles chapter 13, and the chapters that are preceding chapter 13 talk about King Rehoboam, who is Solomon's son. He strengthened Judah in a lot of ways, but eventually he fell into idolatry himself. He was invaded by Egypt. Egypt humiliated Judah. King Rehoboam repents a little bit, but his reign ultimately is one that is shadowed in compromise. So now his son Abijah takes the throne in Judah. He's facing off against Jeroboam, who is the gold calf worshipping king of the north. King of the north! It's basically covenant faithfulness versus rebellion, small army versus big army, trust versus tactics, and it's about to take off on the battlefield. So we pick up chapter 13 and verse 1 says this: Abijah began to rule over Judah in the 18th year of Jeroboam's reign in Israel. Verse 2: He reigned in Jerusalem 3 years. His mother was Maacah, the daughter of Uriel from Gibeah. Then war broke out between Abijah and Jeroboam. So Abijah becomes the king of Judah, and immediately he starts beef with his brethren up in the north there, Jeroboam, who was the king over Israel. So Abijah had an army of about 400,000 warriors, and Jeroboam had 800,000. So Jeroboam literally has twice the warriors that Abijah does, and that's a 2-to-1 disadvantage, which is basically Bible code for only God can fix this. So Abijah climbs up on Mount Zemaraim. He stands tall and he basically delivers a TED talk to Jeroboam's army before the fight even begins. He says, "O Jeroboam, people of Israel, hear me thee. You thee hear me." He reminds them of the Davidic covenant that God gave kingship to David's line forever. He calls Jeroboam out for leading a rebellion, setting up golden calves, and kicking out the priests of the Lord. But then in verse 12 he says this: "So you see, God is with us. He is our leader. His priests blow their trumpets and lead us into battle against you. O people of Israel, do not fight against the Lord, the God of your ancestors, for you will not succeed." You got numbers, but we got God and trumpets, buddy. Good luck with that. So Abijah's basically halfway roasting these people for making golden calves instead of worshiping the Lord. But then he's also hyping up his army. He's motivating his team. So you can almost hear the people out there just shouting something like, "We want God. You have calves." Something. I don't know. But then you got Jeroboam, who's perhaps unimpressed by this motivational monologue from Abijah, and he tries some military trickery. He sends an ambush behind Judah while the main army stays in the front. But Judah's not to be fooled. They do panic a bit, but instead of running, they cry out to the Lord, the priests blow the trumpets, and suddenly the whole tide turns. In verse 15 it says, "And the men of Judah began to shout. At the sound of their battle cry, God defeated Jeroboam and all of Israel, and routed them before Abijah and the army of Judah." So Judah wins big time. They slaughter 500,000 of Israel's soldiers, which is a devastating blow to that army of 800,000. And it's basically Abijah telling Jeroboam, "Don't bring an idol to a faith fight, am I right?" Also, it's kind of funny to think about Jeroboam standing out there and realizing halfway through the battle, maybe these golden calves weren't the best military strategy after all. So then verse 18 says, "So Judah defeated Israel on that occasion because they trusted in the Lord, the God of their ancestors." And that's the entire moral of the story rolled up into one verse right there. Judah won, not because of their might, but because of their trust and faith in God. Abijah then goes on to capture cities, revel in his victory. He reigns for a few more years. He has a large family, because apparently being a king in the Old Testament meant it came with many wives and many sons. Abijah's reign wasn't a long one, but his moment of trust turned what should have been a massacre into a miracle. So that is cool. It's an underdog story where faith overcomes the overconfident rebellion of an adversary, and it's just the kind of story that makes you go, yes! Alright, takeaways. Faith is better than force. Trust is better than numbers. Abijah's army was smaller, but his faith was bigger, and it paid off for him. The next thing is, don't fake worship. Jeroboam's golden calf stunt, it looked spiritual probably to these people that were watching, but in the end it was an empty showmanship and just there for looks. The next thing is, I think if you're going to be a good leader, then you need to be loyal to the truth. Abijah, like all of us, wasn't perfect, but in this moment he stood firm for what was right, and he called it like it was, which is important. And last but not least, when you're surrounded, don't give up. Cry out to God. Judah was encircled on the back, on the front, but they turned to God. When life has you surrounded, front, back, side to side, turn to God instead of panicking. Won't he do it?